Hello, guys, and welcome to the League of Europe D3 podcast with myself, Iverbryn Mike, and joined with me today, Big W. What's happening?
Not much, are you?
I'm good. And guys, first things first, we want to apologise for no podcast last week. There was just a shortage of people available to do it. And it was a nightmare, but it's all good now. We're sorting it out for you today. We're going to be reviewing the Japanese Grand Prix from last week from
2 weeks ago now.
Yep, 2 weeks ago. And we're going to be reviewing the Austrian Grand Prix, which happened this Saturday just gone, before previewing the British Grand Prix coming up on Saturday. So, Big W.
Okay.
Interesting Japanese Grand Prix for us, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're from the opposite sides of the spectrum, I guess.
I mean, what's called that? Why don't you talk us through the issues that you had in qualifying? Because I think that was the major talking points of qualifying.
Yeah, so effectively what happened was I'd selected my setup before, I made sure I checked over it and everything, make sure I had the right wings, right brake pressure and so on. Go out for my run, it felt very understeery, and then on the exit of the corner oversteery. So when I came back in to have a look at my setup, I realised I was running two wings, which was a surprise at first, but I had to, I guess, push on. I managed to qualify in, 7th, but got put down to 12th because of 5-place grid penalty that I got for spinning and then getting crashed into. And then I got overly frustrated and just did probably what I shouldn't have done, but I just left because I was fed up of how my race went, really. And then, do you want to go through yours, like?
Right, well, obviously, at the start of the session, just done a couple of laps on the hards, because I didn't realise it was going to be wet at first. Spoiler alert, it was a wet race, but I went out, done a few laps on the hards, came back in, saw it was raining in the race, and I was like, okay, no need for these hards, all the mediums, a smash on the softs, and it was a very, very interesting qualifying session, because at one point, Adri was on pole, then I done better, then towards the end of the session, I unfortunately invalidated my lap, and I was up by about a tenth and a half, I think. I don't think it was enough to get me pole, but it would have been enough to secure second place for me. Unfortunately, for the second time this season, I got out qualified by my teammate.
Yeah.
So,
well, sorry, you go ahead.
yeah, it was just a great qualifying session. I mean, Adri smashed his lap, chucked it on pole. Nico, kind of a return to form in qualifying for him to get back up the sharp end of the grid, was second place, and then myself in third. And who was fourth? I believe it was Breadbank, wasn't it?
I guess it was. Then Norwich City in 5th.
Yeah, so it was all gearing up to be a very interesting start to the race, with Adri, the championship leader, on pole. James a little bit further back. Obviously, we had the return of MCR as well, coming back into the mix. So he was
the good result as well.
Yeah, he was a bit down the order in qualifying as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, I believe it was 11th. So he got. Oh well, it was a wet start, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a wet start.
Yeah. Okay, so it wouldn't really affect tyres that much, but managed to just get his way through the carnage on the first lap. I don't know exactly what position, but he was definitely up there after the first few laps. Managed to bat himself the podium.
Yeah, I think we got to talk about what happened at the start. Right, so basically for everyone towards the back end of the grid, absolute carnage ensued when
Yeah.
Ghost Recon's did not have the lights count down for him. So the lights went out for everyone else, but not for Ghost Recon, and obviously his car was just stationary on the track, and it caused carnage at the back of the grid. But towards the front of the grid, there was also a little bit of carnage. When going into turn 1, Nico, Breadbank, and Norwich City free wide into turn 1. Norwich City actually sent it around the outside, so I mean, I was bold in the wet. He literally sent it. There was a little bit of contact with him and Nico, which caused contact between
Nico,
him and Breadbank.
Nico spins into Breadbank. It just puts him in the barrier, really.
Yeah, so both of them kind of down the order. It left me and Audrey to just kind of cruise a bit ahead of the pack, because everyone obviously tiptoeing around the incident into turn 1. So
Jasper also managed to get himself up to P3 by the end of lap 1.
Jasper was on fire.
Yeah.
The hype for Jasper at that moment, I'm not gonna lie, right? I was hyping for Jasper. I saw him come up, saying he was in P3. I was like, yes, come on, Jasper, you got this, mate.
Yeah.
But obviously, MCR eventually managed to overtake him, and I mean, you kind of expect it from MCR. He's just got great race pace.
Yeah.
To always be within that podium shout.
Yeah.
And
I'm pretty sure. I remember. I think it was Maka actually had a really good race until he got disconnected and just couldn't join back.
Yes, and we're going to get onto that because Maka was 4th, and I believe he started all the way from the back of the grid.
Yeah, I think it was P19, which was last in this lobby, yeah.
Yeah, so Maka was 4th, and literally, it was going from inters to dry, so there was going to be a point of the crossover period where people would make that call to go into the pits, chuck on whatever tyres to get to the end. Maka went 1 lap too early, chucked on a set of soft tyres, but he managed to get a jump on a lot of people.
Yeah.
And the gap that he had before he disconnected was enough where he could have made that 2-stop on 2 sets of softs work and still get 4th. So it was unfortunate that he ended up disconnecting and losing quite a lot of points, and I know he would have been gutted about that.
Yeah. Well, we should also talk about your undercut. Your strategy was a masterpiece, really.
Well, it was definitely the crossover period. DRS was enabled. It was that time we could get to the end on set of mediums. It was time to pit, chuck them on, and go for it. Audrey, for some reason, decided not to pit the lap DRS was enabled. He continued on for another lap, and it cost him, because when he came out of the pits, he came out behind me, so I was able to get a bit of an undercut on Audrey, and then for some reason or another he kind of dropped back by about 4 seconds.
Yeah. Well, I'm just looking now. The gap was 2 seconds when going into pit, so you got quite a decent undercut. And based on what I've heard, you also made a mistake on your out lap. So
yes,
getting 2 seconds with a mistake. Pretty impressive,
I unfortunately went a bit too deep into the final chicane, which made the Audrey coming out of the pits a lot closer than it probably should have been. But the undercut worked. I was able to get out in front, and from that moment on, it was kind of like a race of attrition, where there were people trying to get the grips with the slick tires on the slightly damp track. We had people going off here and there. Ryan B going for a spin from, I believe he was 5th at the point that he spun it.
Yeah.
We had Jasper as well, going for a bit of a slide. And then we come over to the closing stages of the race. James had an absolute nightmare of a race, and towards the end of the race he was in a battle for, I believe, P10, and he had a very... Yeah, he was in a freeway battle for 10th with, I believe, who was he battling? It was
Jasper and Ryan B after his spin.
Yeah, Jasper and Ryan B. He was in that battle for 10th. I don't know what happened. I think James just lost the back end coming out of the Degners. You know, just underneath the underneath the bridge, and his back end just went. I was literally coming around to lap him, so
that's what happened. He just lost the back end and into the wall after the second Degner.
Yes, and unfortunately, even though James had enough of a gap to get to the pits, chuck on a set of softs, go for fastest lap, and at least salvage 2 points out of it, he had enough and he just retired.
Yeah.
Which you don't want to see, because James is definitely in a championship fight. So it's kind of a bit foolish to throw away points like that, but I mean, you got to feel for him after that race.
Yeah. Recently, well, other than Canada, since the start of the season, his performance has kind of dropped off, unfortunately. Yeah. In a 5-race span, he only got 16 points, which before that race he had a massive gap based on my knowledge.
Yes, I believe he won the 3 of the first 4 races.
Yeah, correct.
And then he won again in Canada. So he's the only man at the moment with 4 wins to his name. But when he's had bad races, he's had really bad races.
Yeah. He hasn't got a podium. Wait, let me have a look. Okay. Well, I don't think he's had any inside the top 8 positions other than when he's won. So.
It just goes to show, I mean, when he's had bad races, he has seriously had some bad races.
Yeah.
I mean, you hate to say it, because we all know James is very fast.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that he's having, this kind of bad luck, really. But yeah, he threw away a chance of at least 1 point, potentially 2 points if he goes for fastest lap, which he definitely
would have got fastest lap. Yeah.
And you hate to see it, but moving on to the front end of the grid, while that incident was happening, I was under serious pressure for the lead of the race from Adri, who was catching at a rate of knots.
Yeah.
And it literally came to a head on the final lap of the race. Adri had DRS on the main straight. He closed up a bit in sector 1. I made a mistake in the S's, so he closed up even more.
Yeah.
And then it was a drag race. Drag race through 130R. I defended the middle ground just to kind of make sure that Adri knew that I was going to defend his position into the final chicane, but he just sent it down the inside. So I was able to hold it around the outside, make no contact, not get any warnings or penalties or cut in the corner or anything like that. I kept it nice and clean and was able to cover the inside, even though Adri had a better run out of the chicane onto the final corner, able to collect my very first win. Not just in LOE, my very first win ever in league racing, which was a big moment for me.
Yeah. One thing that could have saved you, now that I'm looking back at the stream, was Adri was actually very low on ARS going into that last lap. I think he only had about 30-ish%. Yeah, well, yeah, you as well, actually. So, if he just had maybe an extra 15-20%, he could have probably had a better go into the final chicane and possibly forced you a bit wide and maybe picked up the win. However, not how it went.
Nope, so I was able to pick up my very first win. Adri literally 1/10 behind in second place. And then MCR, he was literally in a world of his own. He comes back, gets the final step on the podium. Fantastic return for MCR. And then we had my teammate Nico, which really is a boost right now because that really did help us in the constructors.
Yeah.
I believe in that race we jumped Haas to get up into second. So
quick. Yeah, Haas ended up getting 0 points while you picked up 37.
which I believe is the most that any team has picked up in a single race weekend.
Possibly.
No, it is. It is. I look at those stats.
It is, yeah.
I look at those stats. Don't worry, I know. But yeah, that was a big result there for Red Bull and the constructors. A great confidence boost for Nico as well, because he's also been having very poor luck, same as James.
Yeah.
So it was good to see Nico return to form. Great to see MCR back on the podium after taking a couple of races out. Adri, it was his first race back after missing Canada, so he was showing why he still was top of the championship. And a great Cinderella story for me to take the first win of my career.
Yeah.
And that kind of... It didn't necessarily put me in a championship fight or anything, but I was kind of on the edge of it a bit.
Yeah, well, you're definitely in it now, in my opinion at least.
I mean, we're gonna move on to Austria because we don't want to spoil it until we move on to Austria. So, moving on to Austria, once again, completely wet conditions. Not just in the race, but also we had wet conditions in quali as well. It was dry at the start and then went to wet conditions. Now, I don't know about you, but I kind of bottled my final flying lap.
Yeah, same. I made a good mistake losing at least the 10th, which would have put me on pole quite convincingly as well, because I was only, I think, 100th off pole, which would have been my first pole, but second place is still, I was happy with that. So
yeah, it was kind of a return to form for you in qualifying after a couple of races where you've had unfortunate grid penalties. But yeah, I mean, qualifying was a bit of a weird one. I don't think anyone was able to actually set their true pace, because I thought we was going to get like a 104.5 or something.
Yeah, I feel like there are a lot of people are using wet setups, or at least I know myself, I was using a pretty much a fully wet setup, just with slightly lower, was it anti-roll bars, I think?
I literally just boosted up my ride height a bit and chucked
chucked
a little bit of extra wing on. But yeah, going into the race, we had Breadbank on pole. I believe that is his first pole position.
I believe so, yeah.
Yo, he was very excited about that. We had Adri and James a bit further down the order than anticipated. MCR in 4th and myself in 3rd. And we go off to the start, and I don't know, there was a bit of talk that lap 1 needed looking at. I don't really know what went on behind, but it seemed like a very clean start for at least me, you, and you up front. Like,
yeah, for the top 5, I believe, was actually a very clean start. And so what's the first probably, like, I don't know, easily first 10 laps, really?
Yeah, and a bit of a battle between you and Breadbank up front. You know, it was always nice to sit back and watch a little bit over the first 2 laps. And troubles for the championship leader, who appeared to be dropping positions.
Yeah, got in a battle with Kursk, I believe it was, which didn't help him that much. How Kursk was very happy with it to be able to be battling the championship leader and not letting him get away, really.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was one instant where I watched the stream back. I saw Adri fighting with Nico early on. He went for a move down the inside, and he literally just could not stop the car and just went off and lost another 3 positions. And there was a moment where he came back on track that, you know, J. Cole, the commentator, said that a bit of a unsafe re-entry. But
yeah, I do remember that. I don't remember exactly when, but yeah.
It was early on. But, you know, I mean, he was able to get ahead of Norwich, and Norwich kind of gave him the room, so no harm done there. But, you know, we had James closing up to Adri at the start and then getting front wing damage, forcing him to make I believe, a very early pit stop.
I believe it was either like 2 o'clock or like 3, I think. I believe
so. We had James all the way at the back. We had Adri down in the low end of the points, and we had myself and MCR running 3rd and 4th, and Breadbank was leading the way. Big W right behind. And now I think we gotta go on to the instant which, you know, I'll personally say I think it cost you the win.
Yeah, not certainly, but it definitely changed the momentum heavily with me being stuck in traffic with, well, not necessarily traffic, but me being stuck behind a car with new DRS and the wet being very hard to overtake. So I'll go more into depth about it. So effectively, I think it was lap 12. It had all been really clean up to then. All of us about a second between each other, none of us dropping back or anything. Then I go for a lunge into what I think is officially turn 3, but it's the second real turn. And then managed to get the move done, all clean. He left me plenty of space and everything, and then going into the very next turn, just get a shunt from behind. Don't go into the grabber, but however I lose the back end, get re-overtaken both by the Burbank and also Mike, which Burbank did let us go through, which I guess he felt was the right thing to do. So.
Breadbank gave you the position back, but I mean, it's not the position that you wanted to have back.
Yeah.
You know, you was in second, you just overtook for first, and you're just getting back into second. It's not what you would have wanted, but I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When I saw Big W go for the dive, I stayed a little bit back just because I didn't know how it was gonna play out, and I'm kind of glad I did, because if I would have stayed tucked up under both of your rear wings, like I was kind of doing for a few laps, I would have got caught out by your instant as well.
Yeah.
So I was glad that I was able just to keep a little bit back. Obviously, once that incident happened, it was kind of, you know, just me and you really kind of pulling away from Breadbank, and substantially MCR as well, who went for the undercut. And this was a bold move, because it definitely could have paid off for MCR. He was close enough to us to make the undercut work. But when he came out behind Jasper and got into a battle with him.
Yeah, lost a lot of time, especially with Jasper on very old intermediate guys. And once again, with how hard it is to overtake, he just got stuck behind, lost. I think it was a good 3 or 4 seconds, to be honest, within a few laps.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, Edak was able to jump him on the overlap, the overlap, and Adri, who was fighting his way back through the field, was able to come out directly behind him. I believe Adri at that point was chasing down Mr. Ruta for 6th before he made the pit stop.
Yeah.
So Adri able to get right up under the rear wing of MCR. Educt able to get the jump on MCR. Breadbank was running third. Big W second, but kind of got held in the pits for about a second, which allowed me to get a 2-second gap to him.
Yeah. It wasn't anything too big, however, it was just Mike got let out, well, effectively ghosted into Educ. So he just got that position pretty easily, while because the McLaren pit box is a bit further down in the pit lane, when they both came past me, I was just held by both of them slightly, and with the way the game works, it doesn't let you like release right behind the car in front.
No, I think you gotta be like a certain amount in front.
Yeah.
Which I guess is why I kind of guess it's kind of why Educ got slowed down by me being released. I'm guessing that's what happened.
Yeah.
I got released. Educ had to slow down to let me through, and then that I can't even speak. Right, that subsequently held you up in the pits for that extra second, which obviously you didn't need. But after that, I think our pace was very evenly matched.
Yeah, I did manage to catch up quite a lot, however. I got a penalty on lap 31, I believe, because I only had one warning up until lap 30. Then on the same corner, I got two, I got warnings on each lap, back to back. Just ruined my chances, really.
I think we do have to mention one thing as well. The issue that we had with blue flags. Into the penultimate corner.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you speak on this first.
Right, well, I was coming up to lap Craigie. New driver, new reserve. Unfortunately, he said in the stream, and I did go back and watch, and I saw what he said. He had a dry setup on. He didn't know it was raining, so you can understand him being a bit unstable and everything in the corners, as well as on traction and everything. So I was catching him in the penultimate corner, and he backed off to let me through.
Let you through. No.
But he then was on. Yeah, he was literally on the apex end.
Just chopped it off the inside.
Yeah, a bit of contact made. It didn't hinder my race, and Craig spun, but Big W had to take avoiding action.
It didn't
because of it.
I don't think it affected the result, but I lost probably, I don't know, maybe a second or so. Yeah, a second at max, half a tenth most likely. Yeah, just had to go off track around the exit, before the last corner, after the penultimate corner. Just lost like half a tenth. And then, I do feel kind of sorry for him, because I know there was also an incident with him, and don't remember if it was Cloudy or Classy was one of them. Where it kind of ruined their qualifying lap, where he was just sitting really on the racing line and just blocked him really. Well, I do feel kind of sad, because based on what I've heard, it's his first time ever league racing. It was his first ever league race.
I mean, obviously it's your first race, take it with a pinch of salt. I mean, obviously he's got to learn how to race with us as individuals and that. So he's got to get the grips with learning how to race with us and how we all race and the pace and how we can challenge and everything. And he was probably just first race nerves, to be honest.
Yeah. I know with my, it didn't actually affect anything, but I know with my first few league races, when I was exiting the pit lane, I wouldn't always look back to see if somebody was starting flying lap or stuff. So it can always just be stuff like that.
Yeah, so we give him the benefit of the doubt, and obviously now we got to talk about the comeback drive from the championship leader, Adri. After the pit stop, I mean, for some reason, Mr. Ruta and Wakurst, shared a glorious moment with the Mercedes 1-2 for a lap. Curse came in the lap after myself and Big W and the front runners came into the pits, and then Mr. Rooter then the following lap after Curse. So he went for a 2-lap overcut, which didn't pay off because he came out behind Adri, and Adri was able to get past MCR, and then he was absolutely gunning for Educt, which at the time was for 4th place, but it became a fight for the podium after the bread bank. I don't know how he managed to do it, but he lost the back end and went straight across the gravel.
Yeah, he just bent it. I'm not sure if he lost the back end and then just got frustrated and just drove straight into the barrier, or if he actually lost the back end and then went into the barrier.
I mean, that's a lot of gravel to go across.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm surprised he made it
like,
over there.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking that it might not have just, like, unless he just legit, I don't know, forgot to brake or something. I'm not really entirely sure about it.
Yeah, so that was the moment where Educt then became the man in 3rd. Adri was 4th, chasing him down, and it came to a head on the final lap.
Yeah.
Where obviously, first things first, Norwich City retired on the pit straight. We all had to take avoiding action of his car. We didn't know if it was going to ghost or whatever, but
I think it was the second car to actually retire. I'm not sure, was it Frey possibly that also retired on the pit straight? Or somebody, I believe. I don't know, maybe not. I could just be thinking.
I don't know. There was a few casualties in
yeah.
Austria, but Norwich retired on the straight, and Educt breaking for turn 1. Adri, I'm guessing, kind of had a bit more confidence on the brakes.
Just went straight into the back of him.
Yeah, because I looked at the footage from Educt, and honestly, he kind of brakes at a similar point to where we see Adri brake on the stream. So I'm guessing Educt broke a little bit too hard to try and get a good run out of turn 1, but Adri had so much confidence, and I just throw it into turn 1. Contact was made. Educt got hit off the track and
onto the grass, really.
Yeah, onto the runoff and then came back on the
road and then on the grass. Yeah, and then it allowed Adri through, which personally I think Adri probably should have let Educt go back through. However, that's just my decision. So Adri decided to keep on running with it, and then comes to the very last corner in the main straight, really. And I think I don't remember exactly the result. However,
I mean, here was what it looked like on the stream. It was a drag race to the finish line. Adri was clearly ahead of Educt on stream, but the game decided that Educt won the race by 3,000. So let's say,
yeah. I have had this glitch, I think, in 2 of my league races previously, only one of them affecting myself, where it's just effectively desync, really. So if you add up all the race directors, like, times to each other, Educt would have a shorter time than Adri by 3,000. So the result is what it should be. However, I don't really know how it should be dealt with. I'm not a steward or anything. So.
I mean, I don't know. That's something that may be looked at by the stewards at some point this week. But with the result of what happened, I believe the finishing result was myself getting my second win, going back to back at Japan and Austria, both in wet conditions as well.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, Japan was wet to dry, but there was wet conditions involved. Big W able to get back on the podium. It's been a few races, but he's managed to get back on the podium. He's shaking off the cobwebs of those grid penalties, and now he's back where he belongs, fighting at the top end. Educt came third on the podium. That's the results that we're going off right now. We don't know what's going to happen stewards wise or anything like that.
Personally, I think Ida probably deserves it, seeing what happened on turn 1 and him getting punted off. I feel like it's the right result. That could just be me. Don't.
I mean, yeah, but you know, we're gonna go with Educt on the podium in third. Adri, the championship leader, bringing home 12 points, and I in fourth. Then we had MCR in fifth, and James quite a way back down the order. So not only did James throw away a chance of a couple of points at Japan, he did manage to gain a couple of points in Austria. Now, James had great pace in the wet, so it was unfortunate that his front wing went off in lap wherever it was at the beginning of the race, because he definitely had the pace to really get up there and, you know, challenge Adri, challenge MCR, challenge Educt. So it was unfortunate, but you know, like I said, when James has bad luck, he has really bad luck.
Really bad luck, yeah.
But that does make things a hell of a lot interesting in the championship right now. So if you want to go for the championship and how it's looking right now.
Yeah. So currently it's the same championship leader we've seen for quite a while now, to be honest. I think probably since maybe round 7 possibly he's been the championship leader. So Adri's still currently leading the championship, with James in second, despite having quite a few bad results, with just such a great start to the season. He's managed to keep in second. And then newcomer onto the top 3. Oh, well, I'm not sure if it's entirely new, but new for now. Mike into third place, jumping quite a few positions in the last 2 rounds. I believe like 4 or 5, to be honest. And then
I think before Canada, I was down in like 8th behind Nico.
Yeah, so 5 places it is then. And then, oh wait, is that? Oh, okay, so sorry, 3 races. And then MCR 4th, being the first one. Big W myself in 5th, with hopefully gonna start getting a few more good results after a bad run in the last few. Educt in 6th, he did in 7th, Nico in 4th. Oh, sorry, not 4th, 8th. Wooter in 9th, Aledi in 10th, Smitsky 11th, Ryan B 12th, Jasper 13th, with Kirst 14th, Frey 15th, Norwich City 16th. I won't mention the retired drivers. Ghost in, 17th out of the remaining drivers. Dave 18th, Ricciardo 19th, Bradbank 20th, Carcannon 21st, Ibo 22nd, Sando 23rd, LFC, oh no, he's actually retired now as well. Okay, Cloudy 24th, Aizen Einstein, I think that's how you pronounce it, returning now in 25th, and then Jabbo in 26th.
Say Easton.
Sorry, repeat that again.
Ozone, Easton.
Easton. Okay then.
Yeah, just call him Ozone.
Yeah, just call him Ozone.
But yeah, I mean, that shaked things up a bit in the championship, because now we got this epic freeway battle for second, and it's not impossible for that freeway battle for second to turn into a 4-way battle for the first. And not just that, you are right on the edge of that. Very few good races, you could be well and truly in that fight as well.
Well, if I just have one good race in Britain, I'm in that fight.
And also, the constructors has heated up as well, because with the back-to-back wins, the great performance from Nico in Japan, plus with Smitsky being away for the past 2 rounds, it has meant that the constructors is now separated by only a fair few points.
Yeah, 5 points to be exact.
Which, me and Nico, we're focused on the constructors. But now that I've kind of found myself in this position in the drivers, I'm also focused on that as well.
Yeah. And also in the constructors, McLaren with myself and MCR both having good results in Austria. We've actually, I think, jumped 2 places, I believe. Yeah, 2 places in the constructors up to 4th place.
I mean, here's the thing. I personally, I'd say that you and MCR are the fastest pairing out of every constructor.
Yeah, well, I'll say you and Nico, if we're first, you're in a very close second.
I'd say we're probably second as a pairing, but I'd say you and MCR. I mean, just looking at your records, and both of you countless podiums. And it's a shame that MCR has missed a few races, and you obviously not getting that full-time seat until I think Spain it was.
Yeah, I believe it was. Oh no, it was after that. I think actually, it was actually quite a lot later. I think it was Monaco.
So it would have been a few rounds where you done very well. You got podiums very early on, which obviously if you was on the McLaren team at that point, I personally think you'd be in this constructors battle as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I actually that if we add mine and MCR's points together, I think we'd actually be leading the constructors.
Yeah,
we'd be on 217. Oh, if did I do that math right? I believe so. Yeah, 217 as well. The leading in the championship on 207.
Yep, and that just goes to show that what I just said about McLaren having the fastest pairing is actually true. It's just a shame that, excuse me, a shame that obviously you didn't get the seat until a certain point, and MCR has missed a few races. But you do have a chance to close up in the constructors over the next couple of races. Championship's not over yet. I keep saying this to everyone: the championship is not over yet. There's still 156 points up for grabs in the drivers, and let me just do a quick calculator a sec, because that is a lot of math I have to do. As far as constructors go,
264, I believe, if I did that right.
Yeah, 264. Spot on. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely still a lot of points on the table.
Yeah.
So, obviously now we move on to the next round, Silverstone. A track that could very well throw up, once again, changeable conditions, wet weather. Britain is notorious for the rain.
Yeah.
What do we think?
Well, could be a few Spencer and to work with you possibly missing Britain, and then to be honest, we don't actually really know the pace of the whole field. We haven't had too many practice sessions yet, but based on time trial, I'm pretty sure Aledi, who hasn't actually raced with us too recently, is actually very quick around here. Then I like to think I'm decently quick, but it's not my favorite track.
I'd like to think I'm pretty decent here as well. If I'm going to be racing this weekend. I don't know, guys. I got a stag do. It's a 50-50 at the moment on whether I can make it. It's kind of it's a tough choice. Stag do for one of my best mates. So But I think we can. I think we can say that whatever happens, it could be a crucial turning point in the championship.
Yeah.
Because if Adri gets a win here, it could be game over.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard to close down. Well, it would be at least 40 points if Adri got a win here. Oh, actually, that's not right. At least 39 points if Adri got a win here. Wasn't taking into account for this live.
Not just that. Could be a crucial point in the constructors as well. Because if I'm not here,
Yeah.
and obviously if Adri wins and Smitsky does well, because I think Smitsky doesn't mind this track. I think he's pretty decent at it. You know, that could mean that Nico is on his own and he gets majorly outscored by Renault, which could mean disaster for the constructors. But, you know, I mean, anything can happen. But one thing I do want to see happen is I want to see a Brit on the podium.
Okay. What other Brits are there other than you? There's Smitsky, I know that at least.
Smitsky, James,
well, there's quite a lot. I'm talking about first one, like championship guys. Oh yeah, there's obviously James. Kursk is actually pretty quick around here, I'm pretty sure. So, well, really, any out of
Ryan B.
There's actually a lot more Brits than I originally thought.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a possibility that we get an entirely British podium.
Yeah.
But I know some people, you know, they ain't gonna pick that because obviously, you know, Adri's been very quick, you've been very quick, MCR very quick, Nico very quick, Mr. Ruta very quick, Educt. You know, there's a list of people that are quick enough to get the podium here. I mean, obviously we got the, you know, kind of the newcomer, you know, in the Ferrari, you know, Breadbank. He is also very quick.
Yeah, him and Norwich, I'm pretty sure, are both very quick.
I think Norwich is still a reserve though. So, if anything, he might be taking my seat if I'm not racing.
Possibly, yeah. Well, he's DNF'd him, but yeah, he is still a reserve. He's DNF'd him the last two, but then in the last one that he finished Canada, he got second place. So.
But yeah, Britain's going to be a very interesting one. If I do race, there is a possibility that I become the first man to win 3 in a row because it hasn't been done.
Yeah.
But if I don't race, there is a possibility that I write my name out of the championship fight.
Yeah, very true, very true.
So it's a bit of a dilemma.
I just realised there's actually, out of the 34 people who have raced in Division 3, 16 of them are from Great Britain.
Yep, and 12 different people have been on the podium, if I remember correctly, and 6 different winners.
Yeah, something along those lines at least.
So that just shows how competitive this division is. And, yo, we're going to do predictions now before we wrap it up for Britain. So, Big W, what do you reckon? Predictions?
Should I base this on you are racing or you aren't racing?
I'll tell you what, give me your prediction for both.
Okay, so if you're not racing, I'm going to say James is going to win, flip his poor run of results into a win. Adri in second. And then MCR in third. Well, if you are racing, I don't know, I just feel like it's going to be completely different if you are racing. I feel like it's going to change the mentality of some people, so I'm going to say... Nico is going to get a win.
I'd love to see it.
You're... nah, I'm not going to say Rebel 1, 2. I'm going to say you're going to come home in third, and then... James in second.
Okay, so James to win or James to come second. That's a very good prediction. Right, now, my prediction, I'm just basing this off recent performance. If I'm not racing, Adri to win.
Yeah.
As much as it would destroy my chances in the championship, can't write him off. He's a fantastic driver. Educt second.
Ooh. Actually, yeah, that's actually a very good shout, to be honest.
And third, MCR.
Ooh. Both predicting MCR in third. One of our predictions, at least.
But if I am racing, I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. Because like you said, it can change the mentality of certain people. It can change the complexity. I honestly don't know. Because I like to think I'm pretty decent at Silverstone. So I think I could definitely get a podium there. But the question is...
I'm just going to have a quick look at our time trial times.
I know I done a 27 flat.
Okay. Well, my time trial time, well, I'm pretty sure I use this specific time trial setup with like 100% brake pressure and so on, is actually very good. I'm pretty sure it's a 26, yeah, it's 100% brake pressure, so that doesn't really count. So yeah, I did a 26.7, so.
One thing I will say though is that I didn't do much practice for Silverstone in the other league races where I've raced at Silverstone. So I know I could definitely get into the 26s in time trial, which I think is kind of where a lot of the top guys are going to be. Qualifying though, I know I've done a 27.2 with a slightly wet setup because it was going to be a wet race.
Wait, was this in ILR? Or no?
No.
Okay,
no. But yeah, I mean, if it's a wet race, I don't know. I kind of feel like I got an edge.
Yeah. Well, now looking at your setup, your time trial setup is only 81% brake pressure, so yeah, that's more of a race setup. You can definitely do better if you use a time trial setup.
Yeah, I mean that's an old race setup, so I mean I'm gonna improve on that. I'll do some fiddling around with it, and I'm trying to make it a bit better. Except a lot of changes and that from when I do that setup to what I'll do now if I'm racing on Saturday. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. If I'm racing, I think it'll depend on the weather.
Yeah, weather plays, well, especially at Britain, plays a very big part in the results.
I think in the dry, I'll be either last step on the podium or just off the podium. In the wet, I think I could challenge for the win.
Yeah. Now, in time trial, Adri's done a 26.9. And Letty's also done 26.9, but Kirk's done 27.0, you've done 27.0. So, based on what I'm seeing, it's very close field, to be honest.
Yep, and that's what we love to see. But obviously, I would if I'm racing, obviously, dream scenario, myself, James being the Brits on the podium.
Wow.
And Nico just kind of
wow.
get on with the constructors. Dream scenario.
Wouldn't you rather me on instead of James? Surely.
Hey, look, I said dream scenario, right? That was the dream.
Yeah, but
obviously, if I'm thinking tidy, I would say, if it's wet, me, you, and Adri on the podium. If it's dry, Adri, Educt, and MCR.
Surely, for your championship's sake, the dream scenario would be you would win, probably Nico in second.
Oh, the
Then
dream scenario.
realistically, me
The
in
dream
third.
scenario is me winning. Don't get that wrong. And James in third.
But why
Nico
James
second.
in third? James is beating you in the championship.
But it's only by 4 points.
Still, but surely I'm like 20 points behind. Surely you put me up there.
This has just turned into a podcast of favoritism predictions now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But obviously, I think we have to point it out that Adri cannot afford a DNF.
A DNF, yeah.
He cannot afford a DNF. He cannot afford to drop a huge amount of points.
Yeah. What? To be honest, he does currently actually have a race win, like lead in the championship. However, if like you win, James in second, it's going to be very close. Very close.
That's the thing, right? Say for instance, if Adri was to, finish outside the points, and James wins with fastest lap.
Exactly.
James is within 10 points of it.
Yeah.
And if I done the exact same, I'd be just, I think, around 11 points out.
11.
And then
yeah.
MCR would be, if he done the exact same, would be what, like 16 points?
18.
So really,
And then if I did it, I'd be 31. Yeah.
yeah, but
That's
you
gonna
can still
happen.
come into this championship fight. You can still come into it.
Yeah.
The door's open, mate.
I know.
Water's fine. Come on
I
in.
feel like maybe not for the championship league, but definitely if I like start getting some race wins in their second place, it's definitely within my grasp.
But yeah, anyway, that was the predictions for Britain. Obviously, it's a big question mark at the moment whether I'm going to be racing or not. If I am, game on. I'll see if we can close the gap some more and continue the form I'm on. If not, I hope everyone has a fantastic race. Keep it clean. I want to see some entertainment. I want to see some brilliant overtakes, some fantastic wheel-to-wheel racing. Yes, Will, I'm looking at you.
What do you mean? It wasn't even my fault.
I'm just looking at you for entertainment, but come on.
Wow. Oh, now what you can do is just sit behind me, and then you can watch it even closer.
I did that, Austria, remember?
Well, yeah, but hopefully this time there's not an incident.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, we hope anyway. I mean, because honestly, James deserves a break. You deserve a break. Edak deserves a break. MCR deserves a break. Nico deserves a break. Everyone deserves a break. Everyone deserves a Kit Kat.
Okay.
And on that note, I think we'll end it. So thank you guys for joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe to the League of Europe channel. I've been Ivan Mike, joined by Big W, and we'll catch you Saturday for Silverstone.
Yeah.